What up? I'm Swell Dog. I like to build cool stuff. Today I'm installing another sump. This time on the 01 Silver truck. I had purchased a sump for this truck before, and it was just a single inlet, and then I ended up getting an inlet and return sump for the Silver truck, so I ended up putting that one on the Jeep. But now we're gonna get this sump put on this truck. It is a 2001 24 valve Cummins. So let's dive into it. All right, what I'm gonna do first, I got the front jacked up. I got the air ride all jacked up in the front to make it sit a little bit more level because the driveway's kind of slanted. And we're gonna get most of the fuel drained out of the tank. I've got it down to a little past quarter of a tank. I can't see now because it's not turned on, but what we're going to do is we're going to get the rest of the fuel drained out with it sitting level like this, and then I'll probably drop down the front end so it's tilting forward, just so if there's any extra that it didn't get, we're going to, I'll be towards the front. I'm thinking there might, with this truck, there might be a draw straw issue. I'm not 100% sure, but it left me stranded over the summer. That's one of the reasons why we ended up getting the mega cab over here. One, because it left me stranded with my 1-year-old on the freeway. The other is just because I've had this truck almost 16 years, and fitting 3 car seats in the back it's a little bit tight, and so it's something a little bit more reliable, something with a little bit more room. And now we can just play around with this one some more, not have to worry about dailying it all the time. I think there might be a draw straw issue. Hopefully this'll fix it. All right, so what we're gonna do here to first start draining the fuel is we've got a Fass system on this truck. It's a Fass 150 is what they used to call it. I don't know what they call it now, but this was one of the first mods that I put on this truck back in 2005 when I bought it. And so we're going on we're going on 15 plus years with this setup, and it's been awesome. But so what we're gonna do is, if you don't know how this works, the Fass actually it's actually got like 2 returns on it. So there's a feed that comes in right here that comes from the tank, and then there's the pressure side that goes, let's see which is this top one up here. That's the pressure that goes to the motor, and then this is a return that you add on, because the motor has a return, and then this is like a pressure return from the Fass, and that actually just goes, that pressure return from the Fass is actually running all the time. There's quite a bit of fuel, especially when it's just sitting here idling because the engine's not using a lot of fuel, and it's just dumping it back to tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that hose off, and we're just going to put this little hose on right here, and then set it right into the fuel bucket, and we'll just turn the key on the Fass and just let it run until it doesn't suck anymore. We'll see how much fuel we get out of it. So let's get it going. All right, we got about 2.5 gallons out of the tank, and it's starting to sputter pretty bad, I think, but we're still showing, if you can see that, almost quarter of a tank on there. So I don't know if there's still that much fuel in there, if we got a crack in the draw straw that's sucking air, or if the gauge just finally decided to go ski-wampus. I mean, these trucks have been known to run out at quarter of a tank before, but this one, like I said, I've had it almost 15 and a half years, and I bought it in 05, and it's never had that issue. It just all of a sudden, when it ran out on me, or when it died on me over the summer, so I don't know what the issue is there. But just in case you're wondering, if you don't know, on these Fass pumps, you can actually, when you turn the key on, it'll prime for a second, but then if you bump it, it'll run for longer But you can see how that's all sputtering and it's all foamy. There ain't much coming out of there. You know, we're not going to run that anymore. We don't want to burn up the Fass pump. But I mean, the first gallon we got out of the tank, it was just a steady stream coming out, and now it's, you know, the last little bit is just kind of sputtering like that. So we're gonna, you know, depending on how much fuel's left in that tank, hopefully not a lot, but maybe there's some, we'll drill that pilot hole for the sump, and then we'll just drain it into some buckets and go from there. So let's get this front drop down and see if we can get at least some of the fuel, or maybe we should just leave it like this and see how much fuel comes out, and then I don't know, we'll see. Let's get it done. Got the front end dropped down. Hopefully, if there's extra fuel, it will go to the front. We won't lose as much, but we'll see. Won't be that big of a deal. I kind of cleaned off a spot where I'm going to put the sump. I've kind of marked an X in the middle here, and then from the back. I wanted to kind of keep it so the sending unit is about right here in the middle between these two straps, and I kind of wanted to keep clear of that. I think the arm goes forward. I mean, the sump shouldn't really interfere with that, but I think putting it back here will give me a better shot for the lines to come up and hook into the Fass system up here. So that's why I kind of put it a little bit farther towards the back. A lot of people put them in the middle, but I'll put it about right back there. So yeah, and I actually got a dual, like I was saying, a feed and a return, but when I hook it up this go around, I'm actually just going to use the feed and not the return for right now, because I just want to get it installed, and I'm not going to really rework the pump right now, but I need to redo all the plumbing on this Fass pump, and then I'll utilize the return in the future. I'm going to end up changing out the motor on the pump because I want to put a P pump on this truck for the injection pump, and it needs a higher pressure, so it needs a different motor. And so I'm going to pull the bed and put new lines and everything, and probably go 1/2-inch lines all the way to the front instead of the 3/8 lines. But so for now, we'll just plug the return side on this sump, and we'll just use the feed and go right into it. But let's actually go let's go take a look at the rest of this. All right, here is all the pieces that come with this sump. It's a Ohio Diesel Parts sump, same brand as we had gotten before, except like these, the only difference is this one has a feed and a return, 2 instead of just 1. And man, I love these sumps. I mean, I haven't used all of them out there, but the ones that I have used for the price point, I think this one's pretty sweet. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one. If you saw my other video, there's a couple spots I just wanted to deburr, like you can see right here. There's a little burr right there. But they actually did a really good job. I don't know, they've machined radiuses on these. I think those were sharp before, and all this, all the holes are really nice. I remember on the other one, when I ran the screws through, the one side wasn't deburred, but these actually really nice. There's only a couple little spots just there, and I'll probably just deburr this edge right here, and then This actually looks pretty sweet too, but I might just deburr the inside of these holes. The outside looks awesome, but that's it. 3 bolts holding it together. Comes with fittings for 1/2 inch and 5/8, both sizes. Like I said, we're just going to use one, the 1/2 inch feed for right now, and plug the return, and end up using that later. So let's get this cleaned up and start getting it installed. Alright, got it all deburred, ready to go. That just took a couple seconds. I just used a deburring tool like this, and I used the file. But I really didn't have to do much, and really, I probably didn't have to do any of this. I just, me being critical, I guess, but I just hit right there and right there, those little edges. And then this one, looks like, you know, they machined this radius on these corners anyways, but it was just this lip right there. And like I said, it probably wouldn't have been. And then I just ran the deburr around the inside, the tops of these holes right here. The outside's all. Alright, battery died. We're back now. But we're about ready to go. Again, this is just the same as the other sump that we installed from Ohio Diesel Parts. Man, I do really love these sumps. I mean, for the price point, I think they're unbeatable. And that's why I keep using them. And you can buy them with or without the hole saw, which is nice. If you already have a hole saw, you don't need a whole truckload of hole saws. But it's got the O-ring on it. It's got your cover plate, 3 bolt holes. It will only line up one way, these 3 holes, so you can't get it wrong. With your ports right here, the fuel will come in here. And with this dual port one, if you're looking at it bolted to the bottom of the tank or from the front, the one on the right is to the pump, the feed line, and the one on the left is the return. And the reason for that is because the way this plate goes on, it has a hole in the top of the plate for the return fuel to come up through there. So, and then obviously a little pocket here to catch sediments or anything that it won't get into there, and it's got a drain hole at the bottom. 3-inch hole saw is what you need. We've already got this. I like to use a dowel, a 1/4-inch dowel in my hole saws. I'll drill it first with just a 1/4-inch pilot hole, take that out, and then I'll put this in, and that way when you're first getting the hole saw started, like, it doesn't want to walk around. It'll keep it straight, or it won't wallow out the hole, which probably won't be a problem on this, but there's been some times where I've cut stuff, like if I was cutting into this box at an angle, I've drilled the hole and I wanted to hole saw through something at an angle to give it a oval shape for whatever I'm doing. This works out pretty nice, just on a side note. But yeah, we're gonna go drain the hole. We're gonna drill a 1/4-inch hole first, let it drain. If there's any fluid that comes out, if there's any diesel fuel that's left in there, once that's done draining, then we'll drill the hole, deburr it, and bolt this sucker up. We're not going to use, on the last one we used RTV around the O-ring because the tank had kind of a texture to it. I don't think we're going to do that on this one. The tank is pretty smooth, and the spot that we found is pretty flat. So there's some, when you put these on the bottom of the tank, sometimes there's a spot where there's marks or writing or words that are indented into it. You don't want to put it on that spot so it'll seal. So and we got a nice flat spot. So I think we're just going to run the O-ring, and hopefully it doesn't leak. If it does, we'll pull it back off and put some RTV, but I don't think we should need to. So let's go get it happening. All right, we got the hole drilled, and nothing else is coming out. So maybe our gauge just decided to kick the bucket. I don't know, we'll see. But we don't gotta wait for that to drain. We're just gonna drill the hole now. All right, got our hole drilled. This is leftovers. Here she is. I tried to go slow at the end so it wouldn't fling a bunch of stuff. We're gonna have to deburr this up in here and then try to wipe out any of the little bits, but I didn't quite get it. I was hoping to get it far enough behind the sending unit, the pickup. This is the factory pickup, but the arm goes forward if I remember right, so I mean it's not up in there, so you can't see it, but I was hoping to get it. But this pushes up. It's on sliders with springs, so I mean it won't be. We'll have to just push it up a little bit when we install that, but I was hoping to get it a little bit farther back so we'd miss it. But just as a reference, from the back of this strap, we're like 3.5 inches to the edge of the hole, so 5 inches to the center of the hole from that strap, and we still hit it. So maybe if we'd just gone a little bit, it should still be all right. But anyways, in case you're doing on this same truck, that's about where it goes. Some people put them right under, and it seems to be fine. So I don't know. We'll see. You know, when I end up redoing the fuel system on this, anyways, I'm gonna probably take out that pickup and gut it all, anyways, and just use the level sender and not use any of the pickups or the returns, or maybe I'll have one return going to it, but the main return will be going back to the sump. So let's get that deburred and get it installed. All right, we've got it all deburred best we can. Just use this deburring tool and let's see if we can get this thing to fit up in there. That actually worked pretty slick. I was hoping I could get it with the bolts in, but I can set it up in there and the sending unit's kind of holding it tight. So we should be able to. I did put a little bit of grease just right here on the bottom of this O-ring, just so it won't, so it'll slide pretty nice when it bolts up, so it won't like bunch up or anything. Alright, we got the torque wrench. It looks like it's lined up where we want it. So they recommend 10 foot-pounds. I'm gonna do it. Okay, that should be good. "10 foot-pounds or 120 inch-pounds. Now let's get it plumbed in. What we're gonna have to do is, so this is the one that goes to the factory right here. So we're just gonna unhook this. I'm probably just gonna cap it because I'm not gonna take the end of the hose off. And then I'm gonna have to take out this fitting, because this is a 3/8 and we're gonna do half, and hopefully I got the right fittings to make that work. So let's tear that off and go take a look. All right, got the old fitting out right here. It's just pipe thread on the one side and a -6 on the other side, and we're gonna switch it to an 8. So there is a fitting right here because there's a check valve, or I don't think it's a check valve, I think it's the pressure valve that regulates the pressure is behind this. So you don't want to take that out. But if you just unscrew this, it's pipe thread. And then I had another one right here that will go to a -8. Half-inch hose. So then I've got a 90 here. What I'm gonna do is that's gonna go right about there, and that'll go down to here. And that's how we'll run it for right now. So let's put it in. We might change it a little bit when we alter this fuel system a little bit, but that should be good for now. That doesn't want to come off. Maybe I'll put a hose clamp on that, but let's get it. Let's get the front lifted back up, put some fuel in it, and I'll go top it off at the fuel station and see exactly how much fuel it takes. So here we go. All right, back. It's the next day actually, but we've got everything put back together. We've got the front jacked back up, or aired back up, so it's sitting level. We put the 2.5 gallons that we had drained out of the tank back in the tank, and we've got our new line all hooked up. The old one still sitting there plugged, if you can see that. But now we're gonna take it, hopefully she starts, take it down, fill it up with fuel, and see exactly how much it takes, so we can see how low we are. If we had, I don't know, we had 2.5 gallons that we drained out, and then a little bit might have slid forward when it was dropped down like that. But this tank, I think, is supposed to take 34 gallons, so let's go see what it takes. All right, looks like she took about 31.5. If we already had 2.5 in there, that's right at 34. That might be pretty accurate, but I think our fuel level gauge might be starting to be a little off. I'm gonna have to dive into that later. Alright, so that's it, all done back home. Seems to be working well, no leaks. Looks like our fuel gauge is just a little bit off. Maybe that's what was causing the problem to begin with, but hope this video was helpful with the sump install. If it was, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe to this channel. If not, go build something cool.